My name is John Fords. I am the Program Director of the High Point Community-Based Recovery Services Program in New Bedford, Mass. And I'm also a person in long-term recovery, which means I haven't used any alcohol or mind-altering substances for going on 16 years. And, thank you. I also want to take this time to thank everybody that came out today to celebrate this event. We got High Point, we got these other agencies, and also I want to thank Fairhaven Police Department for putting on this event as well, and asking me to share a little bit about myself. I can get long-winded, but they told me I got like 5 or 7 minutes, right? So first of all, I just want to say, like I said, I am a person in long-term recovery. So which means is I have a history and I have a past, and it's funny because where we're standing right now, there used to be a baseball field when I was younger that we used to come hang out in and drink. And Stop and Shop over to our left used to be the bowling alleys back in the day, and there used to be this ditch, right, and then there was the tracks. And I remember, having that first drink of apricot brandy with one of my buddies from the neck here, right, and all of a sudden it felt good, man. And what it did is it got me out of myself. It got me out of my skin. It allowed me to roller skate at Skate Plus. It allowed me to be able to mingle with the girls and just gave me that confidence, until one day I heard the words from my parents years later saying, "Son, we love you, but you can't come home no more." And that started my recovery journey. So in 1995, I went into my first treatment center, which was High Point Treatment Center in Plymouth. From 95 until 2006, all I did was struggle to get this thing called recovery, right? And recovery coaching, there's a core value in there, and one of them says we never give up, right? And I want to thank Star and High Point and all these other providers, because it was these folks that kind of brought me along my path and my journey and carried me through until I got to the place of readiness. And that was in 2006. And then in 2006, I went into my probably 20th treatment facility, right? Which was a Salvation Army program in Brockton, Massachusetts. On North Main Street. And for those of you that know Brockton, North Main Street is no joke, right? And then it was in there is where, I was able to connect with individuals and kind of learn about this stuff called recovery. So then over time, in listening to what others had to share with me and kind of bring me along this journey, I was able to do that one day at a time, right? I was able to put that 90 days, that 6 months, and I finally got to that year, And then when I got to that year, at that point, I knew that I was good, and I just knew that no matter what in my life, everything was going to be all right. And then I just continued to apply these principles, into my life on a daily basis, which has me to where I'm at in my life today, And I'll be forever grateful for everybody that's been put into my life, from my sponsor, Gary, my family, my friends, my wife. Like, my life today is blessed, Again, I run treatment programs for High Point Treatment Center. I have a private practice, I do things with Noel. It's good to see you. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's all because I'm able to maintain my recovery one day at a time, there's multiple pathways of recovery, right? And my challenge to anybody out there that's struggling today is to find a pathway. Find something that works for you, right? Recovery is here. It's great. It's amazing. It's exciting. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's amazing. It brings families together. It's really great. Like I say it all the time. Like, I am so blessed, man, because I come from sleeping under a bridge. Over there next to Packer in New Bedford. Homeless, helpless, and hopeless. That was me. Wearing your clothes, because I know they weren't mine, because I sold mine. So, but again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and those of you that are watching back home or on TV there. Real excited to have everybody here today. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to District Attorney Thomas Quinn. Congratulations to you.
congratulations to you, Mr. Forts, on your recovery. Life is about moving forward. We all make mistakes. We all have issues to deal with. Life is one day, maybe recovery is one day at a time, but isn't life one day at a time? There's different things we confront. As the district attorney, I'm supportive of people recovering. We have a public safety aspect to law enforcement, but certainly I would prefer to see people get into programs, deal with substance abuse issues that can make them productive members of society, and also that include interacting in a positive way with their family and friends. We support, in the criminal justice system, I support diversion programs related to substance abuse and other programs. Again, someone can't be a threat to public safety because the public has to be protected, but everyone can certainly participate in recovery and move forward with their lives. It's a choice you have to make, and as you just heard from Mr. Forts, it's not going to be the same path for everybody, but step by step, day by day, if you embrace that and try to move forward, things can work out. So, from the district attorney's perspective, we support this. Again, supportive programs. We have the recovery court now in all 4 courts in the county that we have prosecutors involved with that see people come in. I've been to several graduation ceremonies and hear about the change in people's lives from, I don't know if they were whether they were living under a bridge or they were acting or being in a way that was very unproductive to being productive members of society. There are going to be relapses. We all relapse in various things, but perseverance and moving forward, that's something I'm supportive of, just not only as district attorney, but as a person. So happy to be here today and congratulate everybody, Mr. Forts and others, on trying to deal with these issues and move forward. Thank you. Chief Myers from Fairhaven, going to say a few words now. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. DA. I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. Here in Fairhaven, we're honored to be able to host this. We thank High Point for sponsoring it. But we started back when we partnered with Greater New Bedford Opioid Task Force, which we still have a great relationship with. But it allowed us in Fairhaven to create our own opioid task force right here in Fairhaven. And over the last 4 years or so, we've been able to reduce our overdoses and overdose deaths here in Fairhaven because of our task force and the partnerships we have with all of you. We can do our task force and we can go out and do our visits, but if we don't have the resources from people like you to get these people the help they need, then it's not successful. And we've been lucky enough to partner with Deb Kelsey from Fishing Partnership. Without her, we probably still wouldn't exist because she's pulled us along the whole way. She's incredible with what she does. Peter Legassi at Seven Hills as well. Our partnership has been unbelievable. And from my staff with Sergeant Michael Bouvier and Sergeant Dan Dorgan, we coordinate everything from in-house to identifying the overdoses and going out and trying to get them the help that we can as soon as we can. We have to thank the DA. The DA has a Bristol County-wide real-time overdose reporting system where it allows us to enter all of our overdoses in real time, which then notifies other communities if the person doesn't live there, and it gives us the opportunity to get out and get the help to those people as soon as possible. And those partnerships have allowed us, we're going forward to have some grant money that's going to hopefully allow us to do that within 24 hours. But I can let Sergeant Bouvier speak a little to that. So with further ado, Sergeant Mike Bouvier, who oversees with Sergeant Dorgan our local task force. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I just wanted to thank a couple of people. I wanted to mention that this wouldn't be possible today without the support of High Point and my partner in this, Tara Pacheco, my good friend, who I appreciate everything that you do in the community. She's such an awesome, upbeat person. And it's great to work with so many people. Obviously, as the Chief mentioned, Deb and Peter, Fishing Partnership, Seven Hills Foundation, and the Greater New Bedford Opioid Task Force, which we are fortunate with that to be led by Joya Pursuti from the New Bedford Health Department, who her grant writing and her ability to help us and bring people together is really awesome. And it's given us the tools to be able to respond more immediate to people that have needs and in various ways that we can help them. So I want to thank everybody for that. At this time, I want to introduce somebody who's personal to me. We call him Little Al. Little Al and I used to run the streets of Fort Phoenix area in town. I believe John Forts, he was probably over here on the east side, but Alan and I, we had the south side covered. The Chief had North Fairhaven, right? So then every once in a while we all ran together, you know. But anyway, so Alan Greenson was a friend of mine growing up from childhood, right in the same neighborhood all the way through school. I knew his family. My older sister grew up with his older sister, and when I went in the Marine Corps after several years after high school, I just totally lost track of Al. Every once in a while, his name would come up in conversation, and nobody knew where Al was. We knew that Al struggled at points in time during his youth, but we never really knew, a lot of us, what happened to him. It wasn't until years later that I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed and I get a friend request from Alan Greenson. And so I click on it and I look and I'm like, well, that's not the Alan Greenson I know. The Alan Greenson I know had legs like the size of my forearms. There's no way that could be Alan Greenson. Well, it turns out it was. And Al had been in recovery for a period of time. He can tell you that whole story. But we've been in touch ever since. We talk every once in a while. We've shared some experiences and some things that are pretty unique. And I'm just going to read off because I wanted to know some of his accolades. But this is just a quick little resume. Al has 10 first place finishes for the Masters class, age 50 to 54. 28 different records in 4 different states, including Ohio, and he holds 9 world records. Okay. Little Al is now Big Al. And he does it day by day. I'm sorry, this is the powerlifting champion, obviously. You can tell by looking at him. But anyway, I want to introduce my good friend Alan Greenson. Come up here and tell his story.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you asking me to do this. This is my pleasure. This is part of the ways that, one of the big parts of how I stay clean and sober, just by sharing my experience, strength, and hope for others. I'll start from the beginning. Pretty much I started drinking the summer after 8th grade. My sister was an AFS student in Belgium, and she had a boyfriend that lived in Montreal, and we went by bus to visit him, and they had a big party for us, and they were serving wine as much as you could drink, and I drank as much as I could drink and more. I just remember that before that I felt like inadequate, never fit in with anyone. I never I didn't have that many friends really back then. It just was I was like a round peg in a square hole, basically, I felt. But when I drank at that party, I felt like I fit in with everyone. I could dance better. My conversations were good, and until I got the bed spins later on. They just installed new carpeting in this house, and it was white, and I tracked mud all over it and got the bed spins and threw up all over their brand new white carpeting, which did not go over very good with them, of course. But anyways, my drinking never really got any better after that. I pretty much was a blackout drinker from the beginning. And around high school, like 9th grade, I picked up smoking pot, taking acid, was mostly a weekend warrior with the alcohol. Pretty much a blackout drinker on the weekends. Got into trouble with the law a few times in Fairhaven, a couple of DUIs. I had my license back one time for 1 week, and I got my second DUI in Dartmouth. I got pulled over driving a new Fiero. This was about 1987, and when I pulled over, I was so drunk. I was driving without my lights on, and I proceeded to hand the Dartmouth police officer, this was Dartmouth, this happened, a $5 bill and said, "If you let me go, there's more where this came from. I'll take me to the ATM machine right now." And then when I got in the Dartmouth police station, they took the handcuffs off, you know, and they were booking me, and I grabbed my keys and my wallet off the desk and ran out the back door. And they went around one side and they went out on the front, tackled me. I was very feeble. I went right down, of course. And I got charged. That was a charge of escape, bribing an officer, second DUI, driving without my lights on. And the judge was actually kind of chuckling about as he was reading the docket. And luckily he dropped all the other charges with the DUI. But that was my first treatment center. I did 2 weeks in a place called START program. That was my first time in a treatment. Right after that, I started doing a lot of cocaine also with the alcohol. Basically, I've had bottoms on every drug you can think of: opioids, crack, cocaine. Alcohol is a constant throughout my using years. I'm just a plain, like I said, in 8th grade, the first time I drank, I was pretty much, the ism was there. I was an alcoholic right from the beginning. But anyways, the first time I tried recovery was about 1992. It was the night before Thanksgiving, and I was riding on my bike, and I crashed my bike and landed on my face after screaming at somebody. So I was giving somebody a hard time for no reason, and like a fool, I went right over and landed on my face on my bike, and I took my mother's car out. I had no license at the time. Took my mother's car out until the wee hours of the morning on Thanksgiving. Came home with my face all cut up and everything. I couldn't have Thanksgiving with my parents. They just let me said, "Stay up in your bedroom and we'll tell Grandma and Grandpa you're sick," you know. So I got a year of sobriety. I started going to AA meetings after that. I got a year of sobriety, just a little more. And that was the first time of 4 times that I got a year, but I never got up to a year and a half trying it out. I had enough one day. They had the chips, the white chips. I could tile a whole floor with those. My motto is never give up. That's my motto because I tried and tried and tried so many different times. I'm lucky to be standing here talking to you right now, actually. But anyways, I moved to Florida, basically they call it a geographical cure, when you go somewhere else to get away from your problems in one place. Well, you follow you. I followed myself, of course, and my problems came with me. And it's definitely a progressive disease. In Florida, I got worse and worse. I became a booster. I started boosting CDs and stuff. I got arrested 8 times for. I was not a very good thief. I was the worst thief in the world. I got caught 8 times for misdemeanor retail theft of I think it was under $500 or $200 or something like that back then. Like I said, not a very good thief. I got caught every time, but I kept doing it. One time I actually did it, and in Florida, a lot of times they'll just write you a ticket for it because the jails are so full. And I went right back to another store after they wrote me a ticket and did it again, you know. So basically, I was an absolute idiot when I drank and used. I got hooked on opioids for about a decade in Florida, and that was a complete nightmare. You know, I was absolutely a mess. I was hooked on methadone for a long time also, and just a total mess. Anyways, I met a girl there. That's how I got hooked on the, I won't say how I did. I took the pills myself, but she was into the pharmacy and doctor shopping thing, and I got involved in all that nonsense in Broward County. And I met her, and basically that takes me up to about 2011. I decided on another geographical cure, and I moved to the Midwest, to this small town, trying to get away from the opioids, and that's when my drinking really, the drinking part of it really progressed. You couldn't get that stuff like you could in Florida, the opioids, and you could get them, but it was sporadic. So I just replaced one thing with another and went back to the old demon alcohol for me. I had started drinking around the clock. Just taking any pills I could get my hands on. Basically in Illinois, I became homeless for about, I was pretty much homeless also in Florida. I'd get a place, get kicked out of there, sleep on someone's couch, go in the nut house. I've been in every kind of institution you can think of, you know. Everywhere I went, I've been in county jail where I lived back then. So anyways, in Illinois, I became homeless for real there, living in the woods. I didn't even have a tent. I had a tarp and a sleeping bag, pretty much. I did that for just over a month. Got a little money together for my parents, and I ended up getting this little flea bag motel in a small town called West Frankfort, Illinois. And it's pretty much known for the, West Frankfurt's known for the last public hanging, I think almost in the United States. I think there was one other one, but definitely in Illinois. Charlie Barger, I think his name was, a known gangster over there. He got a public hanging in the 1930s. So that's what it was basically known for. Just a little redneck town. Pretty much in this motel, I drank 24/7 in there. And had this girlfriend that drank like me, and we argued all the time. And oh, I forgot to bring up the fact, 200 miles away, I also lived in a place called Olney, Illinois, only known for the home of the white squirrels. There's white squirrels there, actually. And I got arrested. I got into meth too for about 6 months. I did methamphetamine for 6 months, and I got a felony. My house got raided. I got a class 3 felony for possession of under 5 grams there, and I got put on first offender's probation there. And this kind of ties in with the West Frankfort, how I had. That's why I had warrants in 2 different other counties. I also had a warrant in the next county over for writing bad checks. But anyways, I got my house got raided. I got put on first offender's probation after being in jail for about almost 6 months. I had no money for bond or anything, and I went to rehab out of there for that. And right after I got out of rehab and out of jail, I started drinking again. I never did meth again. Never did it again. It just never came across me again. I probably would have done it. But I continued to drink around the clock, and if you're on like a, how would you call it, like a real strict probation, like a drug court probation, if you're drinking 24/7, you're not going to make it. It doesn't work like that, you know. And I think I showed up only one time to the probation office, and I never showed up again. They call it absconding. I never showed back up again because I knew I would have pissed dirty for pills and stuff. And that's how I ended up 200 miles away. But anyways, I also had the warrant for writing a bad check, a misdemeanor warrant in the next county. So anyways, I was in West Frankfort in that motel with the girl, and we got into a big argument. And the police came, and I had a big bottle of vodka. Both of us were completely smashed. And it was like a domestic thing. And when they came, I told them right off the bat, this is when I had my last drink. I told the two officers, I have warrants in 2 other counties, you know. I just want to let you know right off the bat, I'm going to go peacefully, you know. I did what I did. I really want to change. I actually told them that. That's when I had my last drink. It was under the guise of the West Frankfort police. I asked them if I could take 2 more shots because I knew I was going away. This is true. True story. They let me have 2 more shots, and I smoked cigarettes at the time, and one of them smoked, and he gave me one last Newport. He let me smoke it before I went in the car. And yeah, I'm grateful for those. They were very nice to me, you know. That's one thing I never really did. I never resisted. I knew it was, you know, I was the problem at that point, you know. In the past, I always blamed everybody else, the court, the police that arrested me, my genetics, my parents, everybody but myself. But finally, that's one of the key points to my recovery. I was the problem. Nobody else was but me, you know. But anyways, I ended up getting extradited over back to Olney. First to Clay, it was Clay County. It's a county of about 2,000. No money at all, even if I had, the bond was $50. Nobody else, no, there was nobody left in my life. My sister was the only one at the time, and she had pretty much blocked me on the phone. I did 30 days there, and then they extradited me for the felony, and they gave me 3 years in prison. So I did. In Illinois, if it's a non-violent crime, and it's your first offense going in, first time going in, they cut it in half. So it gave me 1.5 years to do. And then they gave me credit for, I believe, 5 months of being in the county jail. So that cut it down to 13 months. Then I went into a program when I was incarcerated. God, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was a drug and alcohol behavioral program. And I was in there for most of the time I was in there, and that cut it down where I had to do about, it was under 1 year in there. It was like something like, all told with the county jail and everything, I ended up doing like almost 11 months. In the prison though, I went to a minimum security prison. Actually, one of my cellmates, there was 100 in the dorm, was an ex-quarterback for the Bears. He had like 5 or 6 DUIs. He was a quarterback before Jim McMahon. But anyways, it was a minimum security. It wasn't, I'm grateful I was in there. It was not really hardcore at all. It was kind of like being in a college dorm with like, with all guys, you know, pretty much. Anyways, when I went in that program, I definitely excelled in there. I did not talk and hang out with anybody that had any negative conversations about addiction. If someone would bring up, yeah, when I get out, I'm going to quit the hard drugs, but I'm going to go to the bar still. I didn't hang out with them anymore. I was done at the time. I knew I was done. I went to as many meetings. They had meetings in there, AA meetings and NA meetings, as I could. I signed up for another program in there, lifestyles, and I just got as much as I could out of it, you know. And when I got out, I had about almost 11 months of sobriety, and I started going to meetings in Illinois. And that's another key. They say when you get out of a program, you become much more successful if you go to a meeting right away. As soon as you get out of that program, that day actually, the success rate is much greater. And I did that. I went into it was a federal/state halfway house. It was mostly funded by the federal government, where you had people that were in prison in the federal prisoners that were doing the rest of their time there. It was just as strict as being in jail almost. They had count time. They metal detected you, breathalyzed you when you walked in, and it was pretty strict. But I persevered, and when I got my own place, I continued going to meetings. I picked up weight training when I was in Taylorville Correctional Institute. They had weights in there that were welded together, pretty much. That way, you couldn't assault. There was the chances of, you could assault somebody, but it was a lot less than if you had 3 barbells. But that's where I picked up weight training, and I started training. I really loved. I trained a lot in my 20s, not a lot, but a little bit sporadically, and I always got very strong in my 20s, just in a little bit of time. Just kind of just like a gym rat for once in a while when I'm in between my binges. That was pretty much over at age 30. I became, I couldn't train anymore. I became unemployable also. But anyways, I really, really loved training, and I got into powerlifting. I got into powerlifting at age 51. I met a lot of people on Facebook, like Larry Pacifico, who's a Hall of Fame powerlifter. He's got a Wikipedia page. Vince Anello, first man to deadlift 800 pounds at 198 pounds. All these guys are in magazines. I also met a very cool guy named Greg Boyd. He played for the Patriots for the first 3 or 4 years of his career, 8-year defensive tackle, defensive end actually. And then he became a professional wrestler. A lot of people were helping me out. They saw that I had pretty good big potential in powerlifting. My first competition was about almost 3 years ago in February, right before COVID pretty much started. And I got talked into it by my friend. I said, no, I'm not ready. I hadn't really been training my legs very much, the deadlift. I had slacked off over the winter. But anyways, I had a 350-pound bench at the first one at 51 years old, and a 450 deadlift. The next one I didn't do as good. On the deadlift, I did better. I only had a 320-pound bench. And then I set my sights for a deadlift world record in Natick, Massachusetts. And I got that with a 540-pound deadlift. So I increased my deadlift by almost 100 pounds at that point in a year. And I became very good friends with the Hall of Fame powerlifter I mentioned, Larry Pacifico. And one day he messaged me on Facebook. He goes, I want you to come over to Ohio. I would like you to break that deadlift record that you broke earlier. I think you could break it again here. I'd like to see you. So he paid for my flight, had a room ready for me. He had prime ribs sent to my room, took me out to the Outback, let me use his vehicle. This was a dream trip for me. This guy I absolutely looked up to. He is known as the GOAT of powerlifting. Him and Ed Cohen. Cohen's the other one. Ed Cohen's the other GOAT. So it's like dual GOATs. Larry won 9 world championships from 1970 to 1979, set 110 world records, was on all the magazines. I got a bunch of magazines where he's on the cover, like Muscle Magazine, Iron Man Magazine, Powerlifting USA. It was an absolute greatest weekend I ever had at the time. So I broke the record by 0.1 pounds. See, I broke the first record. It was only 3 weeks before that, and I was pretty tired, and I didn't have too much left in the tank after 3 weeks, but I ended up breaking it by 0.1, and Larry made fun of me. He goes, you're like that Russian weightlifter, Alexei. See, in the Soviet Union, I may not be pronouncing his name right, but he was the first man to clean and jerk 500 pounds, and he would break records by 0.1 pound, a half of a kilo or whatever. Because the Soviets, every time he broke a record, the Soviets would give him a bunch of money. So he would break it just a tiny bit just to keep getting paid big paydays. He said, God, you're like that Russian weightlifter Alexei, breaking it by 0.1. But anyways, since that time, I have 28 different records in 4 different states. I have 10 world records. 9 world records. Some of them I broke my own. I broke my own deadlift record twice at one powerlifting meet where you get 3 tries. I hit 530, and then I hit 540 on the next attempt. Then I broke that again with a 580-pound deadlift. And then again, I went to another federation called the World Powerlifting Association, which is an even bigger federation. I broke those records in a federation called Revolution Powerlifting Federation. This is all over the world, the WPA. And at my last meets this summer, at 54 years old, I deadlifted 600 pounds for the first time, and I benched 400 pounds for the first time at 54 years old with a 530-pound squat. And I got the world record for my weight and age in the WPA for the deadlift and for the total, all 3 lifts. See, some of my lifts aren't the greatest, but Larry said because I'm pretty good at all 3 of them, that's why my total breaks records. Like I'm like diversified through all 3 lifts. And it's a great community. Us power lifters, we're very positive. We support each other. I have friends all over the world, from Iceland, Tasmania even. All over the world I have friends. Finland, you name it. And I'm just going to keep going with what I'm doing, you know. Someday, you know, it'll all end, you know, we all wear out somewhere, you know, along the line. But I haven't yet. And I actually have a friend who's 71 that's helped me out the most, named Mike Birch. He deadlifted 500 pounds at 71 years old at the last powerlifting meet I was at, you know, and with ease too. 71 years old. He'd been competing since the 1960s, and his motto was never give up, and that's been my motto. Recovery has been absolutely wonderful. If someone had told me, okay, I didn't mention my sobriety date. I got sober January 11th of 2015. Had you told me right around that time that I'd be standing here talking about this and about my sober journey, I would think you were nuts, you know. But anyways, it's great seeing everyone here. God bless everyone. Thank you.
My name is Brenda Venice. I'm president of NAMI for the National Alliance on Mental Health of Bristol County. Well, I've been doing this for close to 25 years, teaching families and people with mental illness to learn how to cope, advocacy, support through groups, through support groups, family, support group. Everything is free. I take care of the whole Bristol County. A lot of people that have addiction, that are dual diagnosed, they have a mental illness, and what happens is they, because of the stigma around it, they self-medicate through drugs or alcohol. And I always say that if people got help, good services to help their mental health, it wouldn't be so bad. And nowadays, and especially since COVID, we have our young people with the social distancing, the mask, they're coming with anxiety, depression, and I'm hoping to get to the young people ahead of time. So I say it's okay to have anxiety, it's okay to be depressed. There are helps out there, there's groups. If they were to get the services that they need, I feel we wouldn't have it as bad as we have it. So if I could help just one person, I'd be golden.
I'm Felicia Martinez. I work for the Beyond House Young Adult Access Center for Child and Family Services, where right now we got a pop-up location at 543 North Street. So what we do is a bunch of stuff. We are doing fresh skills, social interactions, healthy boundaries, a whole bunch of groups, also activities. It's all low barrier. It's a youth-driven safe space. So they can drop in at any time. It's all free. They don't need any referrals.
And we're here to support young adults through their transition to adulthood. So it's a drop-in center. They can come one time, they can come 1,000 times, right? They can come in, they can create social connectedness with each other that they may have never, met before or even had a conversation with anyone. They can, there's gaming, there's board games, so it's very, a lot of recreational stuff, but then it's also supporting them into that transition to adulthood. So that's we have what we call fresh skills, which is life skills, but it's all in the wording, right? And that is career preparation, health and nutrition, money management, education, housing and home management, risk prevention. That's just one of many. We have a lot of fun activities as well. We help me, Felicia, karaoke,
yoga, cooking struggles.
Yep.
Cricket. Painting.
Yep.
We
Paint-
have
What else? Movie day.
game time.
Yeah, game day, movie day. And we're open. We're gonna do vision boards together, like talk about a 2-year plan, but make it fun, right? Doing vision boards with them, and it's youth driven. So as we go along, the more we have a monthly calendar, right? But it keeps changing because as we do things, the young adults let us know, more ideas. We have a youth advisory council. And that's where young adults will meet together monthly and to discuss how, their needs and their wants and how they can make change in the community to be more relatable to them, right? And what they understand. And we supply mental health resources, right? Community collaboration.
So yeah, we're hiring for the recovery navigator position. It's somebody who has lived experience with substance abuse and recovery, but also mental health needs too, because that comes right along with it. Spanish speaking.
Speaking a plus.
Yes,
not a must,
absolutely.
right? And the recovery navigator, like the peer mentors, that's that bridge, right? That's the access center. When you walk in, we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome, like you get to see yourself somewhere, and we want to be able to support the community, everyone, right? Diverse, inclusive, LGBTQ plus, yeah.
Really just meeting them where they're at, basically, and supporting their needs and whatever it may be. And even if we can't help, we got the resources or the referral too.
We also have a family partner role, which gives support and works with the parent, caregiver or guardian of the young adult. But because it is a youth-driven, safe space, we need it to be part of the young adult's plan, right? If the young adult is open for it, then right away the family partner reaches out and starts to begin that bond, because in the end we want to create healthy relationships, right, with families and the young adults. So we want them to come, but if we have to do it through the young adults in the beginning, right? And once that all starts happening, then we'll start having groups and activities for the parents as well, and hopefully bringing them together, right, and having some kind of activity, creating those family relationships.
Hi, my name is Lisandra Gonzalez, and I'm the Assistant Program Coordinator for the Lead and the Outreach Program through the New Bedford Police Department, and I am responsible for running the mental health outreach team, and that is a team of plainclothes police officers who are actually handpicked and especially trained to deal with mental health emergencies in the New Bedford area. And what they do is, after we review 911 calls, anyone who has a mental health related emergency or who has come through our system, we actually send out a police officer who is in plainclothes in an unmarked car along with a clinician, and they meet with whoever has had that type of emergency. They go into their homes, they meet with them, and they make referrals, they link people to community resources, and they actually do follow-ups with them. We started with actually 2 teams twice a week, and we are actually up to 10 teams. So it's actually working out really well.
I am Ashley Cabral. I am a lead recovery coach for the city of New Bedford. We also do outreach and post-overdose. So what LEAD stands for is Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. So what we do is we meet with low-level criminals that are facing misdemeanor charges that are not charged yet, and we divert them from the criminal justice system. So we'll meet with them on the street, we'll create recovery wellness plans with them and resources and divert them into treatment instead of, say, the courthouse where they would be put on probation and have to call colors and do urine screens. So it's pretty much like a coiffer. It's called a Noli press. So they would get a wellness plan done. They would be compliant with our treatment plan, and then we would actually talk to the ADA, which is Thomas Quinn's assistant district attorney, and they kind of just quaff the charges out of the court system, noli press them out of the court system. And so this actually is kind of a harm reduction when it comes to the criminal justice system, so that it takes the weight off the police officers, it takes the weight off the criminal justice system, the courthouse and probation and everything like that, and they're putting to treatment instead of jail. And then the outreach program is we go out and we help the homeless. We kind of just find out what their needs are. Right now we are actually in the process of creating something through, it's called a HEART protocol, where the homeless are actually allowed to have their tent up from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. without being disturbed. As long as they're taking it down at 7 in the morning, they're allowed to sleep. So that way they're not in lack of sleep. So that way they're sheltered from some of the elements that could be, harmful towards them. And then the post-overdose team, we actually get notifications of who overdoses the day prior and is released, so that we go out and actually outreach them, give them harm reduction supplies like Narcan. We see if they're interested in treatment. We're, kind of help them connect with resources, so that way they're not just overdosing, leaving, and no one's really following up with them. I think that we have 2 recovery coaches, including myself. We have a coordinator that helps us with that. The sergeant is actually Sam Ortega. He supervises all of it, and we have police officers that will come out every once in a while with us too, to do like certain outreaches if we need, because it can become, a little nerve-wracking sometimes. There's a lot of, and the clergy also comes out with us, asks if anyone needs prayer. We have through the Inner City Church Council comes out, and clergy will come out with us and pray for the post-overdose people, the homeless, or whatever it is. So we actually integrate all kinds of different aspects into it. So it's not just a police officer coming out or a recovery coach. We all work together as a team and see where the people need to be diverted and where they need to be helped and what resources they need. We also partner up with Seven Hills. They come out with us and do the post-overdose. They've been super helpful. Peter Lagasse from Seven Hills is great. He comes out with us and does a lot of post-overdose stuff with us and is able to connect them with resources there, like MATs or any kind of aftercare that they might need as well.
Hi, my name is Joya Persudi, and I'm a program coordinator at the New Bedford Health Department. We're really excited to be here today at Celebrating Recovery with Fairhaven. We love to partner with our neighboring cities and towns, and so we're really happy to be here to share in this exciting event. I think this is the very first one they're doing, so we look forward to participating in many more. Our table today is really about Narcan access and some harm reduction items. So we have fentanyl test strips, we have Narcan, we also offer Narcan training and distribution in both English and Spanish. And so we're really looking forward to offering that to those residents of New Bedford and surrounding towns, including Fairhaven. The health department also does a number of other initiatives, including wastewater testing, water testing, inspections for housing and businesses. We also hold a number of substance use prevention grants, both federally and through the state, and so we're really excited to carry those to help with substance use disorder. And I think that's really it for now. Yeah, and any other questions, they can contact us at the health department. And again, we're always looking forward to collaborating with other agencies, cities, towns for all things health related, especially as it relates to substance use.
Good afternoon. My name is Noel Sierra. I am the Southeast Regional Coordinator of MORE. MORE is Massachusetts Organization for Addiction Recovery. We're based out of Boston, but like I said, I cover the southeast coast of Massachusetts. MORE is an advocacy 101. We teach the community how to advocate. We teach the community about recovery services. We have resources at our website. If you go to www.more-recovery.org, you can find more about the resources that we have, the best mini guide that in all of the state of Massachusetts, because it has every detox center, every TSS, every CSS, every adult program, youth program, men and women, family programs as well. If you go to our website, you can get that information. MORE has been around for over 31 years. What we try to do is educate the community about the value of recovery, the importance of recovery. Recovery is real. Recovery can happen. Our vision is that someday people would eventually see that recovery is an addiction is treated as a health issue and it's not ignored. We visit every recovery center that's under BSAS. We train individuals how to tell their story of recovery. We train individuals in different aspects of recovery, relapse prevention, harm reduction, multiple pathways in recovery. We teach individuals about harm reduction. We teach individuals about many other things. If you're interested in finding out, you can come to our website, like I said. Thank you very much.